This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Better suit on up cause it's about to get real. Never ever seen a thing like this reveal. Hold on tight, give up the fight, embrace yourself. It is coming and it won't let down. So fresh. So fresh, so fresh. I can't contain this piece was made a house of home inside of me. It's never held me back cause it's the fuel that inspires me. Some may call it a dream, but I call it my destiny. I give it all it got, now it's my time to reap.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, it does not matter who the host is. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. And I'm not joking as I say that. Anyways, today is Monday. Yes, Monday. February the 19th of 2024. Yeah, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yes, infiltration and Radio Big kind of go hand in hand as we do our stuff. Anyways, we are broadcasting across the multiverse known as Safety FM. Anyways, I have to tell you, as we started all off, I've missed you. And let me explain on how much I have missed you. I mean, you know how you have that deep love for someone else, and you just kind of can't wait for that moment in time where you get to see them again and kind of really get to cherish that moment. That's how I'm feeling here. I mean, that is that moment in time that we're talking about. Anyway, so let me talk real quick in regards to some stuff, some of the norm stuff. Let's get that out of the way, and then we'll get into the busy Izzy, the important Tante stuff to talk about. So our show is about safety in the news and safety. Let's talk about that because that's going to be important for some. And then we kind of go into some things to talk about in regards of the world of safety. We have some professional newscasters that come in. They'll talk a little bit. They'll do this, they'll do that, and all that kind of fun stuff. And, they really give you all of the news of what's going on here in close to real time as possible. And from that particular point, you get to interact with the show, if you want to do that, by going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. There's a text messaging version, there's a video version, there's a call-in version. I will tell you, if you want to be successful in this radio station, text messaging is the way to go. So, with that being said, that kind of gets the oodles out of the way. But let's talk real quick about some of the stuff of what was going on. So the last time you and I got to hang out, which has been a while ago, not talking about what we did while we were down in Wollongong, I told you that we would be broadcasting live from the Global Safety Innovation Summit in the Gong in Australia. Now, I'm not going to lie here. We had some issues. We had some tech issues. And of course, with the time change being so different, 16 hours ahead, if you're on the eastern side of this coast thing. So it was kind of a small cluster in regards to getting it done. So let me tell you what's going to happen. So I didn't do any recordings for Rated R Safety Show. I'm not going to lie, because it wouldn't have made a lot of sense. Everything would have been delayed. It wouldn't have been in real time. That's going to be a little bit difficult to do. But I will tell you, here's what I'm going to do. If you hang out on the Jay Allen Show, or Safety FM with Jay Allen, better saying, if you hang out on that show that comes out on Tuesdays and we do the Safety FM mini on Fridays, here is what I'm going to do. I am going to give you the speeches that occurred in the conference. Okay? And then on top of the speeches that happened inside of the conference, we're going to do some little add-on, tag-on towards the end where I will interview the speakers for just a brief moment in time and talk about how it overall went. Okay? So that's what we'll do over the next few weeks. Slow drip. And then I might have a little surpriserizer for you as we are talking. So with that being said, I want to apologize for not being able to deliver on my word in regards of doing this live as we thought that we were going to be able to do. But hey, we're here now. Let's have some fun together, because I think that that's going to be important. And we'll get into all the mess of what I did in Wollongong. I also made it down to Bangkok, Thailand, which was unexpected to some extent. But hey, all kinds of fun stuff. So anyways, as we're getting into all of this, why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so with that being said, let's go into it all the way. It is day 50th of the year, 316 days left to go, no doubt about that. So here is what we're going to do. We're going to talk real quick about some things that are going on. So what's on the tap today? Well, someone luck ran out all too soon. We're going to talk about that in the shit list. Also, Jimmy Kimmel is facing a fraud lawsuit that he asked for. We'll talk about details about that as we get into showbiz. Also, production for an Apple TV favorite ramps back up. We'll talk about that as we get into casting calls. No, seriously, we'll talk about all of that as we get into casting calls. So no doubt about that. So with that all being said, I'm thinking about this. The last time that we talked and we got to hang out together was right before the Super Bowl. I mean, that's how long ago it was. Because of me having that difference in time, I was telling you about, I don't know who the hell was about to win. That's how long ago it was since we last hung out. But don't worry, I'm going to give you everything that I can in real time, as close as possible. So why don't we get into the news right now? Got some Trey Thomas coming your way.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio. I'm Trey Thomas. 2 Minnesota police officers and a paramedic were shot and killed while responding to a domestic abuse call early Sunday in a Minneapolis suburb. Neighbors heard a few bangs about a minute apart.
I'm not sure that those were gunshots. They might have been, tear gas or flashbangs or something.
The suspected gunman is said to have died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police say the suspect had several guns and fired from multiple points in the house. Nearly all of California is under a flood watch as another atmospheric river rolls in off the coast. The state is still saturated from the last powerful storm system that swept in off the Pacific, which dumped record amounts of rain in the area. The Weather Prediction Center has issued an excessive rain outlook for most of California through Tuesday. Congress is just one vote away from giving Ukraine a $60 billion foreign aid package, and President Biden is confident it will pass. A statement by the White House blamed Ukraine's retreat from a city seen as a key stronghold on congressional inaction after Ukrainian soldiers had to ration ammunition due to dwindling supplies. The loss was Russia's first noticeable gain since May. GOP presidential hopeful Nikki Haley is slamming former President Trump for his silence on last week's death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny.
Donald Trump is going to side with a thug who kills his political opponents.
Speaking on ABC's This Week, Haley called it both concerning and a problem that Trump has not responded to Navalny's unexpected death in a Russian prison. You're listening to NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. 2 major political parties in Pakistan have failed to finalise a power-sharing agreement after days of coalition talks. protesting farm unions in India have agreed to extend the pause on their protest as further talks with government ministers take place. And Eiffel Tower workers are due to go on strike, demanding an immediate review of the Parisian monument's financial management.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
A member of the Senate Intelligence Committee says it's not a coincidence that the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny happened as the Munich Security Conference was being held.
To tell the world that he doesn't care what anybody thinks and that he can do anything that he wants to do.
Speaking on Fox News Sunday, Colorado Democrat Michael Bennet echoed President Biden and other leaders that Russian President Vladimir Putin is responsible for Navalny's death. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is once again extending an invitation to former President Trump. Zelensky said he'll even go with Trump to the front line. The Ukrainian president made the remarks while speaking at the Munich Security Conference in Germany. Saturday's invitation comes 3 months after Zelensky invited Trump to Ukraine in response to the former president's comments that he could end the Russian-Ukraine war in 24 hours. Former Congressman George Santos is suing Jimmy Kimmel for allegedly misusing cameo videos on his late-night talk show. Chris Coraggio has details.
The lawsuit filed in New York on Saturday claims Kimmel requested at least 14 videos from Santos on the site Cameo, where celebrities sell personalized video messages. Kimmel allegedly used phony names and narratives and sent requests from fake user profiles. The lawsuit claims Kimmel chose personal use licenses for the Cameo videos and allegedly started using them on Jimmy Kimmel Live in December. Kimmel is being sued for copyright infringement, fraud, breach of contract, and unjust enrichment.
One of the best players in baseball will have to wait to make his 2024 spring training debut. Los Angeles Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani did not participate in live batting practice on Sunday and will not suit up in the spring training opener on Thursday. You're listening to NBC News Radio.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacky? Safety trainers still preaching a warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Polzel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing the dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM-free. That's HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM-free to use the code SafetyFM-free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM-free with code SafetyFM-free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, another pitfall of our society. There is no doubt about that as we get to hang out and do all the shit that we're doing around here. It's 16 minutes past the top of the hour, and boy, am I happy to be back sitting inside of this studio. I have to tell you, the most interesting thing occurred while I was gone. I had to reference this. So I was able to do some recording stuff. I'm not going to lie in regards to how we were doing it. But, when I go to some of these events, and let me make sure that I reference this where I was at. I was at the, I'm going to mess up the title because I've messed up this title so many times. Global Safety Innovation Summit is where I was at. Global Safety Innovation Summit in Australia is what I was doing. But here's the fun part. I totally screwed the pooch on this in regards of what was going on. When it was all said and done, I got to broadcast at this very fancy hotel inside of their bridal suite. Yeah, I mean, I'm not joking. It was the bridal suite. It was the most, so you see how we are all colorful in regards of this studio if you're watching on the video format. And if you've never seen it, we're mostly really dark colors here. And then we have some rainbow stuff kind of going behind us, some gray, some black, some whites, all that kind of fun stuff. Everything there was reverse. It was white. And I mean white with Marilyn Monroe in the back. I mean, I would have figured they would have slapped a Marilyn Manson logo in the back, give or take, but that's neither here nor there. But it was a good time. Very interesting. No video. But I'm going to tell you, when we start releasing some of these episodes, you're going to see some stuff from Todd Conklin. Some stuff from Sydney Decker. You're going to get to hear from Diane Chadwick. You're going to hear from her. You're going to hear from Zoe Nations. You'll hear, where else? You're from Drew Ray, formerly from Disaster Cast fame. So, I mean, you'll hear some stuff. We got some Martha Acosta, some Bob Edwards, some Andrea Baker, just to name a few, in regards of all the people that were there to be interviewed and interact with and all that kind of fun stuff. And we're even going to talk to Gordon from Energy Safety Canada and about their event coming up. So just get ready because I'm telling you, it's a whole plethora of stuff coming out your way. And then the other grand part about the whole thing is all of the stuff that you're going to get to see in regards of the presentations and take a listen to them as we go through it. So I'm pretty excited about it, just so you know. But let's get into some new stuff because I think that that's going to be important. So let's go into this right now. So as we take it at the very top of the shit list, Apple is bracing for a historic $539 million fine from the European Union for an antitrust concern. Financial Times reports that the penalty, which is set to be formally be announced at sometime next month, due to the leak that might advance the timetable. The fine apparently stems from a 2019 complaint filed by Spotify, which alleges that Apple prevents companies from promoting cheaper alternatives to its own streaming music. I mean, think about how weird this is for a second. So could you imagine you're inside of your Ford automobile and all of a sudden they're advertising for a Chevy car on the display of your Ford? I mean, it's kind of a weird thing. And here's where it gets weird. When you start becoming a distributor and a service provider and all that other fun stuff, I mean, how the hell does that stuff work? I mean, seriously, it gets strange.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, what a fun time. Anyways, a Florida shopper has run out of luck, leaving unclaimed $36 million lottery prize for a ticket that was purchased last August. The 180-day window for the prize closed last week, with no one claiming the tickets purchased at Publix store in Jacksonville. The majority of the unclaimed winning will support the state school scholarship and local district support trust fund, and the remaining 20% goes back to the prize pool. So there you go. Could you imagine that? You bought a ticket, you won, you didn't know that you won, then you find out that you won after the 60-day limit has passed. I think I'd be crying in the rain, just to say a little bit there. No doubt about that. Anyways, North Korea is opening its borders. Well, kind of, sort of. The Hermit Kingdom took its isolation to new levels during the pandemic, virtually locking out all international travel. Now its borders are reopening, but only Russian tourists can come in. North Korea shares a silver of the northern border with Russia. Still, restrictions are abound. The group of 100 visitors who arrived earlier this month were escorted at all times and preventing them from interacting with everyday locals. North Korea has also become a significant supplier for Russia in the war efforts against the Ukraine. So imagine this. I mean, this is according to Wall Street Journal, by the way, too. Just to throw that out there. So think about it. Think about it. All of a sudden, you get to go to a different country, and all of a sudden, you have an escort the whole time. And I'm not talking about that kind of escort. I mean, let's make sure that we're clear here. But you have an escort the whole time that you're there. I mean, how are you going to feel about that? You know, it's a feelings question, because I have a lot of feelings that I like to ask people. So there you go. What do you think? Good stuff, bad stuff, indifferent stuff, some stuff, weird stuff. I don't know. So normally today, because it is Monday, we would talk about what the hell's going on with the box office. But it is President's Day, so the weekend box office numbers are not yet fully reported. And we'll have a full rundown from the long weekend tomorrow. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. But today, not so bueno, because, you know, they're just not there. So I would just be making stuff up if I told you anything in that particular regard. So, listen, let's talk a little bit, because I kind of feel like I've kind of been out of the loop. You know, there is no loop that we can talk about that I need to address, because there's so many things to talk in this particular regards. So let's kind of go a little bit towards the middle before we get into the rest of this. So why don't we do this? Why don't we start talking about some money matters stuff, and I'll bring in some Trey Thomas.
Nike has announced it will lay off 2% of its workforce. It amounts to over 1,600 jobs. In December, the company announced a $2 billion cost-cutting plan that included layoffs to deal with sluggish consumer spending. Nike CEO says layoffs won't affect store employees, store managers, or distribution center workers. Former President Trump is being ordered to pay over $350 million in his New York State civil fraud trial. NBC's Von Hilliard has been on the trial from day one and says his lawyers told him Trump was going to take the stand no matter what.
He was going to defend his family business to the extent that he could, even if it meant the judge coming down hard on him, which here this afternoon he chose to do just that.
He's also banned from doing business in New York State for 3 years. The judge also fined his sons and banned them from doing business in the state for 2 years. A biopic about a reggae legend tops this weekend's box office. Bob Marley One Love took in an estimated $27.7 million in its opening weekend. The movie opened on February 14th and set a record for the biggest midweek Valentine's Day opening. Madam Web opens in second place with just over $15 million, and Argyle dropped to third with $4.7 million. Wall Street is closing lower to end the week. Stocks slid after a larger than expected jump in wholesale prices. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 145 points to 38,627. The S&P 500 shed 24 points to 50.05, and the Nasdaq fell 130 points to 15,775. Consumer and business news, Trey Thomas, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for some Money Matters. No doubt about that. The Dow lost about 145 points to close at 38,627 on Friday. The S&P lost about 24 points to close at 5,005. And the Nasdaq lost about 130 points to close at 15,775. West Texas Intermediate closed at $79 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $83 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.27. And Bitcoin, continued to climb over the weekend at $51,800. There was more than 2,640 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States. And no winner for Friday night's Mega Million. Tuesday's drawing will be for $493 million jackpot, or a $231 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball either. Monday's drawing will be for $330 million payout, or a jackpot of $155 million. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. Anyways, I want to talk about a couple of things real quick. Let's talk about mortgage rates, because I wasn't able to talk about this when this happened. But mortgage rates in the U.S. are jumping after strong employment inflation. Lisa Taylor has more.
The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage averaged 6.77% this week. That's up from 6.64% the previous week, according to Freddie Mac data. It's still higher than a year ago, when the average rate was just over 6.3%. Sam Cater, Freddie Mac's chief economist, said the economy has been performing well so far this year, and rates may stay higher for longer, potentially slowing the spring home buying season. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Okay, thank you, Lisa Taylor, for that. Let's take a listen to one more. Some owners of Tesla's new stainless steel Cybertruck are complaining about stains on the body of the vehicle. Take a listen here.
Some describe those stains as orange rust marks. Others are calling it corrosion. A man from Northern California claims he picked up his shiny new Cybertruck, drove it in the rain, and within 2 days, tiny orange specks appeared on the shell, requiring him to buff them out. The Tesla Cybertruck manual confirms that the body of the truck is susceptible to corrosive substances like grease, oil, tree resin, and dead insects, and those should be washed off quickly to prevent corrosion. I'm Phil Hewlett.
Can you imagine that? All of a sudden you get this high-end vehicle, and all of a sudden that's something that you run into. You might lose your shiznit, if you know what I'm saying, and particularly in regards to that. So there you go. So let's talk about this. Colorado Springs, Colorado. The investigation into Friday morning's deadly shooting at the University of Colorado in Colorado Springs dorm is still underway. Freshman student Nate Muslin shared his reaction after he called around fellow students to confirm that something was actually happening.
There was a shooter on campus, or like some gunshots, and it was just disturbing. It was quite sad as well, because at the end of the day, like, we're a family here at UCCS, so it doesn't matter if it's one person you don't know, or your friends.
The two adult victims were identified yesterday as a 26-year-old Sally Rain Montgomery of Pueblo and a 24-year-old Samuel Knoop of Parker. Knoop was a student and a female victim was not. According to the local university, investigations say that the incident was isolated to the parties involved and that is not considered a random attack. Colorado Springs Mayor speaks about the shooting that happened at the UCCS campus, giving special thanks to the first responders.
Still, in times like this, it's important for us to come together, to mourn, to grieve, to pray for peace and for comfort in dark times, and for the friends and family members of the deceased.
Stephanie Hanig of UCCS Assistant Vice Chancellor for the Health and Wellness Department says there has been an incident there has never been an incident like this in their 19 years. Take a listen.
Thankfully, we haven't had to go through this before. It's such a tragedy and a huge loss for our campus to have to go through something where our students have to manage this.
So very interesting times for sure in regards of what is going on. Take a listen to this. The Daytona 500 was officially rained out on Sunday Details are here from Scott Carr.
It's the third significant weather-related delay for the race in the past 5 seasons. With rain in the forecast for the entire day around Daytona International for the first time ever, Speed Weeks will conclude with a Monday doubleheader. NASCAR's Xfinity race is now set at 11 a.m., ahead of the 500, now with a planned start time of 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm Scott Carr.
So could you imagine that all of a sudden you're super excited about going to the Daytona 500? You make it there, it gets rained out, and then you're stuck there for another day?
Duh.
What are you going to do there? I mean, and imagine having to call into work and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to make it because I'm down in Daytona, and I'm going to have to be there one more day because, hey, little rain action occurred. I wonder how well that would go over. But I guess that's why it lands on President's Day. At least this year it does. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other stuff that is going on inside of the world. You know, we had to talk about it because, hey, why would we never talk about politics around here? You know, it's so subtle. Early in-person voting is open throughout the state for the presidential primary, and Clinton Township needs more poll workers. Clerk Kim Meltzer says that they have one location for people to vote through Sunday at the Senior Center.
They wanted to be able to have that opportunity to put their ballot into the tabulator themselves. This gives them 9 days of opportunity to do that.
Their ballot in the tabulator. There you go. People who voted early at the township over the weekend say that they appreciated having a little extra days to cast their ballot, and it was a little bit faster. It will be on Election Day coming on February the 27th. Karen Beck among the early voters at the Clinton Township on Saturday as she was able to cast her presidential ballot for the primary.
I've always voted, and I believe it's very important, and it's a privilege to be able to vote. And so I wanted to actually be the first one here, but I was number 2.
I wanted to be the first one here, but I was number 2. I mean, is it that important? I'm just asking a question. I'm asking for a friend. No, seriously, asking for a friend.
Duh.
I mean, I'm just saying. Okay, so take a listen to this. A 20-year-old man is hospitalized and in critical condition after police said that he allegedly shot and killed his 19-year-old ex-girlfriend on Friday night. She was working at the front desk at the Comfort Suites in Canton Township, Michigan, where the police chief, Chad Ball, said that he walked in and allegedly shot her at 9:23 p.m.
He fires behind the counter or tries to, then later somehow gets behind the counter, and that's where we know at least one shot killed her.
Less than an hour later, he was hit by 2 vehicles while he was running across the southbound Interstate 275 exit on Ford Road. One of the vehicles that hit him did not stop. No names have been released. Canton Township Police Chief also says that it was difficult to inform the 19-year-old girl's family that she had been killed.
You don't even have the words when you break these, break the news to families and provide these notifications that they just lost their loved one.
Yeah, I would have no idea to how to even manage that, to be quite honest with you. Anyways, Grand Rapids, Michigan Federal Emergency Management Agency crews are going door to door in several West Michigan counties to offer up help in form of storms that hit the state in August. FEMA spokesperson Daryl Habich says that the registration period is now open for people affected by the storms and a tornado and are visiting homes, businesses, and nonprofits.
We are here at the invitation of the state and the approval of the president to provide disaster assistance for those storms.
A tornado hit north of Grand Rapids during the storm and damaged several homes. FEMA says 9 counties are eligible for federal help. FEMA spokesperson warns that fraudsters need to be watched out for. Take a listen.
As much as we try to eliminate these terrible, terrible people, they are attracted like cockroaches.
They're attracted like cockroaches. I'm not even sure what that means. Let's just do the main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, main story time. You know, I don't even know where to start today because I'm number one. I'm not joking as I say that I'm really excited about being back and hanging out with you. No doubt about that. And it's amazing to be able to talk about a little bit about, what has happened over the last few weeks. First off, let's just kind of tell the truth here. It totally sucked that I didn't get to interact with you the whole time that I was gone, which pisses me off to no end. But we'll talk about that later because, we're here now. But the other side is I got to interact with a crapload of people inside of this conference at the Global Safety Innovation Summit at the Gong in Australia, which was really cool to do. There was about 603 delegates there in regards to being to interact with. And keep in mind that when I'm talking about this summit, the summit was a summit. It was not a sales show that had some other things to appeal to you, because you know that there's some conferences that happen here in the U.S. that all it is it's a vendor fest. And then the vendors are there to sell, and then they have some stuff for you to do on the side from time to time. That was not the case here. So I just want to make sure that we're clear. Outside of that, it's amazing to me when you get to go to these things. Because, number one, like I said, the interactions, being able to do stuff with different people and seeing different parts of the world on how things are going. Now, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Number one, are you familiar with David Probin from ForgeWorks? I will tell you, him and his company put on a little event. I want to say that it was Wednesday night that they called Safety Stock. And I will tell you, if you normally go to some of these conferences and you go through the banquet thing, let's be realistic. The banquets normally suck. Safety Stock has upped the game across the board on what the hell to expect in regards of moving forward at some of these events. So I want to make sure that we're clear. And what it was they essentially brought in musicians, and it was a pretty big concert that ended up taking place at this thing. So that was one. Now, the thing that I run into the issue with overall, and not with Safety Stock, I'm just talking about at any of these summits that we go to, any of these events that we get to interact with, is that you get the highest of highs. You get to interact with a whole bunch of people, and you get to take a look around and go, damn, that was a good conference. Damn, there was some good information. Damn, there was all this great stuff that took place. But here's the catch. When you start taking a look around, and you start taking a look, it's not that you go back to no man's land. It's not that you go back to no woman's land. You go back to that place where you might be inside of an organization that they're not as lively about the ideas that are taking place inside of the world of safety. They might not be into this cultural change inside of your organization, not safety culture change, organizational change inside of the organization. And how do you interact with that? How do you keep it up? And listen, I will tell you that normally if you have a big emotional event with someone, it normally lasts about 6 weeks. That's the highest of highs, lowest of lows, the way that things go. Just going to tell you. So I take a look at this and I go, how do you do the interaction? How do you move forward? Now, I've listened to a whole bunch of people talk about a whole bunch of different things on what can possibly be done. And I look at this and I'll tell you the following. You need to find like-minded individuals in regards of what is going on. If you're unable to find that, there's some other options. And I will tell you, I had this opportunity to hang out with Andrea Baker, and we talked. And I remember her telling me something many, many, many moons ago, where she talked about you have to be okay with other people cheerleading what you want to move forward within the organization. If you're okay with other people doing the work of cheerleading what you need to talk about, you will move whatever you're trying to move forward quicker. If you're more hung up about the voice that's coming behind it, meaning that it has to be you, it might not move as quick as you want it to. Now, I want you to think about that today. If there's stuff that comes out of these events that you go to that you want to move forward, are you willing to talk to like-minded people and make sure that you keep it up? And are you willing and able to talk to other people to help cheerlead what needs to move forward? Listen, sometimes it has to be from a different voice. I will tell you, I'm always amazed about the amount of times that I get to go to an organization and interact with them and talk to someone and say, I want you to know this. What you just told us today is exactly what we've been saying for X amount of time, but nobody listens because we are definitely being prophets in our own land. And you could almost say the exact same thing, word for word, verbatim. And people might not want to listen because, hey, you're already there all the time. Isn't that weird how that works? It really is something truly to think about when it's all said and done.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On radio.
Better suit on up cause it's about to get real. Never ever seen a thing like this revealed. Hold on tight, give up the fight, embrace yourself. It's coming in and wall it down. So fast.
Oh, yeah, still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that. Yeah, good to be back, buddy. Oh, pal. Yeah, 44 minutes past the top of the hour. Yeah, we're still hanging and banging here. This right here, Jared Bark. It's so fresh. You know, that's what we needed, some freshness as we got back. Yeah, we would like to thank Jared Bark for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. You can give a little streamer-emer action. YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify. Yeah, that's what we do. So there you go. Yeah, you know how it is around here. We have to do the music stuff. You know, let those other boring-ass shows not do it. We're just going to hang and bang, buddy. Yeah, so there you go. Some fresh music. So fresh, Jared Mark. Thank you very much. Yeah, so some questions keep on coming inside of the chat. So thanks for the people that are doing the call-in radio stuff. So I'm going to back up a little bit if you're on the video. Just in case if you were asking, because some people have asked, the shirt says, safe, not boring. Yeah, safe, not boring. This shirt was handed to me by Dr. Martha Acosta. Yeah. I think you can go to her website. I'm not sure if there's anything related to the shirt yet, but Martika.com. Yeah, Martika.com. Martha Acosta gave me this shirt. That's why I'm rocking it today. Safe, not boring. So just for information purposes. Don't know if it's available on her website. Well, I mean, you'll have to see. So you'll have to see right there. Martika.com. So there you go. Anyway, so let's talk about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. And that's about my friends at Right Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. We want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. To Right Love on Her Arms, and click on the section that says Find Help. Seriously, find help. To Right Love on Her Arms. That will get you moving, grooving, and everything else. Because listen, we're going to talk about this. This is the most important information I can share with you, period. No, seriously, period. Because it's so important to talk about. Mental health is so important. Now, listen, when you go to this website, TWLOHA.com, there's information about addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide trauma, grief support resources, just to name a few. So, TWLOHA.com. To Right Love on Her Arms. That's where it's located to find out more information. Anyways, let's talk about some things that are going on inside of the news. It's the news that's needed to be heard on a Monday morning. Eating grapefruit with your coffee might prolong the effects of caffeine and ward off afternoon slump. Michelle Francie, a chemist from the... Michelle Francie, a chemistry professor at Brainbaugh College, says that her students have found out that if you eat a lot of grapefruits, you can increase the time the caffeine remains in your system. She made this comment during a Chemistry World webinar last week. She says that the same chemist who enraged tea pursued last month, also by suggesting that adding a pinch of salt to a cup of tea makes it better. Oh, and then the last that you may know is that Francis also said that cabbage, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts could help caffeine clear from your system quicker. So they clear a lot out of your system that can just be caffeine, and no problem. I rarely have cabbage and Brussels sprouts for breakfast, so that's just something to think about. You know, I don't know if you've ever had a California taco per se, but they do put some cabbage in it, and it makes it a kind of an interesting thing, just to say. So I don't know if you should do that with caffeine now. Now I have a lot of questions. Anyways, a Chinese trucking company paid $30,000 to transport thousands of pounds of snow from a frozen northern city in Harbin to a special needs school in the tropical southern metropolis. Officials in Beijing Truck Company information technology demonstration to run their refrigerator truck. But for the drivers and staff, it was all about bringing the joy to the children. The convoy drove 1,960 miles or 3,300 kilometers over 5 days, arriving till the Children's Growth Center in February. The trucks then dumped the snow and gave almost 2,000 children with autism and other special needs the chance to experience snow for the first time ever. Odd, one observer says that the snow may be cold, but everyone's heart completely was melted. So there's something to think about. Also, a Louisville, Kentucky school bus driver known for going above and beyond has had his act of kindness go viral. Larry Farish Jr. recently noticed that a little boy was having a rough morning, and he said that he normally, when he picks up Levi, that a child is waiting with a big smile. But this day, he was sitting with a jacket over her head. His first grader explained that through tears, that he didn't have pajamas for pajama day at the school. The bus driver said that the first thought was, I got to fix this. After Farish finished the morning route, he headed to a family dollar store and purchased 2 pairs of jammies for Levi, and then headed back to the school to present them to the boy. Quote, he was so excited, you should have seen how his face lit up. When he was asked about the program by a local reporter, young Levi said, when he got me the pajamas, I did do the happy cry. I'm not crying, you're crying. So there you go. You know, that's a good story. It really is. It's a good story to hear. You know, there are some good people still out there in regards of doing good things and trying to make this place a better place. No doubt about that. Take a listen to this one real quick. Coming out of Denver, Colorado, a proposed bill would make it illegal to hold your phone while driving in Colorado. Pete Pacelli with Bicycle Colorado says that advocates have been pushing for something like this, and it's even more important to them this year.
Frustration and sadness with the rise in traffic fatalities of particularly pedestrians, bicyclists, and people on motorcycles, and the fact that distracted driving is a big contributing factor.
The hands-free bill is making its way through the legislature, sponsored by the Democratic State Senator Rhonda Fields and Chris Hansen. Under the proposed law, the hands-free device like Bluetooth would be required to take calls while driving. Several similar bills have failed over the last 15 years. Kim Mosen, president of the Colorado Union Taxpayer, believes that the bill is overstepping existing laws.
I think that we all agree that we like to have safe drivers on our roads, but there's already bills and legislation laws in place for people that are in accidents that have been driving and are distracted.
Okay, so tell me more. I mean, if you're going to fight this thing, you need to explain why you're fighting it and what other shit's there to be able to fight it. I'm just saying, let's not get too pushy here. There's something to think about. Anyways, American forces dealing with Iranian backup Houthi rebels at the Red Sea say that they struck an underwater drone for the first time. Michael Kastner has more.
U.S. Central Command says the undersea drone was struck on Saturday during a series of self-defense strikes in waters near Yemen. CENTCOM said they determined the targets presented an imminent threat to U.S. Navy ships and merchant vessels in the region. Houthis have been attacking ships in the Red Sea in protest against the Israel-Hamas war and claim to be going after ships with links to Israel. I'm Michael Kastner.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of Houthi to me, too. So there you go, some stuff to think about. Anyways, it is 52 minutes past the top of the hour. I want to have some motivation. So let's bring some John Smalls in. Let him tell us a little bit about the Motivation Minute right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. Today's quote was submitted by Cole. Aristotle said, "Be a free thinker and don't accept everything you hear as truth. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in." Aristotle was around a long time ago, but today, more than ever, these words are true. To spread false information has never been easier than it is today. In the past, it would take a long time to get the message out, true or false. Now, with the click of a button, something that was typed by the thumbs of a lunatic can be spread around the world in a single day. The internet is amazing and scary. We can use it as a powerful tool or a dangerous weapon. Be careful how you use this tool. Make sure you know for sure before you share things. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
The FDA has recalled nearly 60 products containing contaminated dairy. Lisa Taylor with more.
A national outbreak of listeria has been linked to cheese, yogurt, and sour cream made by Rizzo Lopez Foods and sold under over a dozen brand names. The recall has also been extended to salad kits, taco kits, and other products sold nationwide, including at Walmart, Costco, Whole Foods, and Trader Joe's. Those products either contain cheese made by Rizzo Lopez Foods or were processed on the same line. The outbreak is linked to 2 deaths and 23 hospitalizations.
The top doctor for Customs and Border Protection tried to get his staff to get him fentanyl fentanyl lollipops. That's according to a whistleblower report sent to Congress. Dr. Alexander Eastman wanted to take those narcotics to the UN General Assembly meeting in New York last September, saying he might need them if any CBP operators on the trip were hurt in an emergency. Health updates, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to a Radio God. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a Radio God. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Oh, what kind of pressure is that, being a radio god? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it sounds a little pressury. Thank God I'm not one of those. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit, because we have very little time in regards of what the hell is going on. That is for sure. Let's talk about Did You Know real quick. As people continue to look for ways to minimize their use of single-use plastics, the question has come up: can Ziploc bags be reused? The company that makes has chimed in saying, because Ziploc bags brand are made with high-quality recyclable material, our bags can be reused several times. A spokesperson did caution, however, the brand recommends cleaning the bags between uses, hand washing them with soap, and air drying them. As you might imagine, if the bag was used to hold raw meat, fish, eggs, spoiled foods, it should be tossed in the trash or in the recycle. Maybe that's the question to ask. You know, I have to tell you, I'm always amazed when, the garbage people, the people that pick up the trash, leave you little notes of, this is not recycle. You need to move this elsewhere. Then you kind of feel like, oh, did I do something wrong here? You never know. So there you go. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date as I take a look around. Let's see. Let's go into the day of, let's go into 2010. Tiger Woods publicly apologized for his sensationalized affairs that had been haunting him since his previous November. Over the Thanksgiving holiday in 2009, he crashed his car into a fire hydrant after a spat with his wife. Rumors swirled that about why he was leaving at that hour, and that would cause the collision. And in the ensuing weeks, at least a dozen women came forward alleging affairs with the golfer. That happened back in 2010. We're looking at some birthdays for today. Millie Bobby Brown turns 20. David Morris turns 23. Victoria Justice, 31. She turns 31 today. God, I can remember when she was still having that little show on Nickelodeon. Camille Costner turns 32. Haley Duff turns 39. Eric Lange, 51. Jeff Kinney, 53. Seal turns 61. Joey Diaz, 61. Prince Andrew, 64. Roger Goodell turns 65, Jeff Daniels 69, and Smokey Robinson turns 84 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I always have some of those for you. It's President's Day today. It's National Hickey Day. I don't know if you should go around leaving those things on people. Probably not a good idea. International Tug of War Day, National Family Day, and National Chocolate Mint Day. Some mint and some chocolate, I guess that can't hurt. Not everybody loves it, but hey, it's okay. Everybody doesn't have to love everything. It just doesn't have to be in that fashion. Anyways, good times hanging out with you. That is for sure. So here's what's going to happen here over the next little bit. At the top of the hour, Sheldon Primus will come on to Safety FM, and he will talk about the business of safety consulting. I will hang out on Radio Big, and I will talk about the world of music and entertainment. So if you stay on Safety FM, Sheldon Primus, if you stay with me on Radio Big, we'll do some music. We'll talk about some entertainment stuff. We'll get into all that kind of fun stuff over there. I really do want to say thank you for hanging out with me in this morning, because I really do appreciate it. No doubt about that. So let's get into a couple more things before I let you go. So if you need a phone starter for today, why don't you try this? What's your very specific dream job? If you need a random joke for today, try this. If you ask me, we place too much emphasis on the early bird good luck and not enough on the early worm bad luck. Think about it. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. A survey found this, that it is the best thing you can do to start your day. What is it? Well, this says drink a glass of water. I don't know if that's the best way to start your day. I have some other thoughts, but probably shouldn't discuss them, at least when we only have a few seconds left. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. The difference between a stumbling block and a stepping stone is how high you raise your foot. Think about that one today. That one's going to take you to places that you never thought. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am.
Duh.
Love you, mean it, and goodbye. See you in a bit. No, seriously, I really will. Take care for now. No, seriously, do. Take care.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.